Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, let's dive right into this because, well, let's face it, there are very few things more stressful for a homeowner than a sudden plumbing emergency. I mean, it completely disrupts your entire day, and honestly, it puts your property at serious risk. So today, we're breaking down exactly what you can expect when you actually need to call in the professionals. So, what happens when water rises? You know that heart-dropping moment, right? When water starts backing up where it absolutely shouldn't? Listen, that anxiety you feel, it is completely valid. A home is your sanctuary, and uncontrolled water is literally an immediate threat to that peace of mind. But here's the thing, you usually don't go straight to a flooded basement. No, emergencies almost always start with subtle hints that just kind of escalate. It usually begins with slow drainage that, let's be honest, you might be tempted to ignore. But then, that's followed by foul odors creeping up from the pipes, and the next thing you know, you're dealing with standing water. Or the absolute worst case scenario, a sewage backup. Now, these symptoms, they demand a fast, licensed response. To help calm the chaos, here's our clear roadmap for how the pros handle these crises. First, we'll cover the anatomy of an emergency. Then, triage in the call, diagnosing the blockage, clearing and repair methods, and finally, cleanup and future prevention. Okay, let's jump right into section 1, the anatomy of an emergency. This is where we explore exactly how a minor inconvenience morphs into a major household hazard. By definition, an emergency drain issue is a plumbing failure that rarely, if ever, happens at a convenient time. We aren't just talking about a sink that takes an extra minute to drain. No, it's a rapidly escalating situation that can literally threaten your property. And that is exactly why you just can't rely on DIY fixes here. You absolutely need a fast response plumbing team to step in and restore safe flow quickly. And when it comes to getting that help quickly, location is everything. And this brilliantly illustrates the extensive reach of Dr. Drain across the Chicago North Shore service areas. We're talking places like Arlington Heights, Highland Park, Lake Forest, Northbrook, Wilmette, and Winnetka. When disaster strikes, knowing a specialized local team actually covers your specific neighborhood is the very first step to getting your home back to normal. Moving right along to Section 2, Triage and the Call. This is where we focus on taking structured action and making that crucial first phone call. Now, before you even pick up the phone, here is an absolutely crucial homeowner tip. Document the exact timeline and location of your symptoms. Did the shower start draining slowly yesterday, or did the basement floor drain just suddenly back up this morning? Look, being a proactive participant and having this data ready, it actually helps the technicians work significantly faster once they arrive. So when you do make that urgency call, a professional dispatcher is going to hit you with some very specific triage questions. They'll ask for the exact location. Is it just the kitchen or the basement too? How long has it been happening? Are there any foul odors, bubbling fixtures, or are multiple fixtures backing up all at once? They ask these things to fully understand the urgency, schedule the proper arrival window, and ultimately minimize your property damage. Now, what's really interesting about this is how those triage questions lead to a crucial initial diagnosis. The dispatcher is actively contrasting two scenarios. First, is this a branch line clog, which is isolated to a single fixture or just a small localized pipe section? Or is it a mainline issue, which affects multiple fixtures and sits much closer to the main sewer line? Figuring this out right away basically dictates the entire strategy moving forward. And that brings us to Section 3, diagnosing the blockage. The crew has arrived on site, and it's time to pinpoint the exact problem. Once the professional crew is actually on your property, they don't just start randomly tearing into pipes. No way. They follow a highly structured inspection process to avoid any guesswork whatsoever. Step 1, they check the cleanouts to assess access points. Step 2, they run controlled tests to see exactly where the water stops flowing. And Step 3, they deploy specialized drain cameras straight into your plumbing system. Actually, let's focus on those drain cameras for a second, because they're really the ultimate diagnostic tool for complex issues. They're absolutely essential for things like recurring clogs, suspected tree root intrusions, or honestly, just when the location of the clog isn't obvious. And the biggest benefit to you? Using a camera helps the technicians map the exact problem area, completely avoiding tearing up your yard or your walls with unnecessary digging. It's a real game changer. Next up is Section 4, clearing and repair methods. We've pinpointed the blockage, now it's all about selecting the least disruptive method to get things flowing again.
So the crucial point here is matching the exact right tool from their arsenal to the specific problem. For your standard common clogs, drain snaking or augering is usually the go-to. But if you have thick, stubborn buildup coating the inside of the pipes, hydrojetting uses high-pressure water to literally blast it clear. For complex, severe obstructions, they'll use targeted removal. And if the issue is actually damaged pipes causing recurring blockages, well, that shifts the conversation to patching or full-on replacement.
Finally, we enter our last phase, Section 5, Cleanup and Future Prevention. This is where we bring the whole thing to a resolution filled with some much-needed peace of mind. Look, emergency drain work can be incredibly unpleasant, especially if wastewater has overflowed into your living spaces. Yuck, right? That's exactly why reputable services place a massive focus on safety. Their post-service protocol includes rigorous waste containment, thorough cleanup, drying out the affected areas, and actively reducing any contamination risk. They want to leave your home safe and sanitary, not just unclogged. Let's move to see how this builds into long-term protection for your home. Before the crew even leaves, they'll arm you with vital preventative steps. First, a technician walkthrough of exactly what they found and what they did. Second, a firm reminder to avoid flushing non-biodegradables down your toilets. Third, cautioning you against putting grease or large food scraps down the kitchen sink. And fourth, advising you to schedule routine inspections so you can catch any future issues early. I really want to highlight this urgent warning straight from the source. Don't wait for a minor clog to resolve on its own. It's so tempting to just cross your fingers and hope it goes away, but ignoring those early symptoms is a huge gamble. Timely intervention is literally what separates a manageable, relatively quick cleanup from devastatingly costly property repairs. Which leaves us with this final thought. Are you prepared to turn your next sudden plumbing panic into a predictable, manageable plan? By understanding these 5 phases, from the initial symptoms all the way to the professional diagnostic tools and repair methods, you can actually take back control of a stressful situation. Stay proactive, know your symptoms, and keep this structured plan in your back pocket for whenever you might need it. Thanks for joining me on this explainer today.